So welcome everyone. So I'm Sylvain Barbier, product line manager within Thales Cybersecurity, and I will present you this session with both Sylvain Hannelais and Laurence Laborde, who will make some demonstration and presentation. So in terms of agenda, Sylvain, the other one, Sylvain, in fact, will present you the challenges. Sorry, in terms of cyber threat on the space system as of today and how it evolve. And then Laurence will do a demonstration of the security maintenance service that Thales is providing. Thales Alenia Space is providing on the space systems, and I will be happy to present you a demonstration of the cyber detection capability that we provide today and that we will evolve in the future. So Sylvain, the floor is yours.
1, 2. Okay, I'm not very much used with the microphone, but okay. So today, this is an overview of a big picture of the space evolution for the past years. As you can see, you have the legacy space systems that we know for quite many years. As these legacy space systems have to be monitored and threat detection must be implemented on it. Where the new space system have the implementation of use the new technologies and require also the implementation of cybersecurity because it becomes more and more sophisticated and agile. The arrival of CICD and the rising and increase of use of COTS on the systems require very often upgrades and quick upgrades, and for that the cybersecurity has to be to adapt to these changes. Sorry. Okay, so these are some figures of what are cyber attacks in the space system. The study has 2 years already, comes from June 2021. As a matter of fact, you can see that the space system is not, even if it's difficult to reach, they're not spared from cyber attacks. And the fact that its relative inaccessibility makes it that the target, sorry? Okay. So, wait, mais non. Sorry. Makes the target, sorry. the attacks are much more targeted and well organized. The originating attacks come from majorly from NSAs and governments. And are focused from NSA and organized crime, sorry, and are focused on commercial and governmental organizations. As a matter of fact, it is quite clear that the motivations for these attacks are political and space espionage oriented. So here on the left you have the list of threats that may be detected thanks to the countermeasures that can be implemented on the right, CM, sensors, hunting and others, and complemented by cyber threat intelligence and the implementation of vulnerability analysis with sharing this information from other for continuous improvement of the system. This last point is very important in the maintenance of the system security and the system detection condition. So here you have an overview of, let's say, quite a summary of what are the cyber standards that everybody knows, the common standards that are still valid, which are the NIST framework that you will recognize with the identification, protection, and etc. While these controls are enforced today with additional space-oriented requirements and dedicated security frameworks. Such requirements can be found in the NIST also with space-oriented SATCOM, for example, oriented requirements. Some requirements also linked to the APRE, which is the implementation of pre-configured architectures to answer to accreditation topics. And finally, the improvement of the system with the security detection with the ISO 27001. So the target objective is to limit the impact of cyber attacks on the service delivery. This is the main objective. So this is achieved by improving the mean time to detect and the mean time to respond. Mean time to detect improved by the implementation of advanced threat detection, threat hunting capability, sorry, and the reducing the mean time to respond by providing assisted investigation tools. And over this, the detection effectiveness is improved by providing targeted cyber threat intelligence and most of all understanding the attacker's motivation and tactics and techniques. A mention is made here to two-meter attack, which is one example, but there are also other derivative techniques. What we must keep in mind is that attackers do not mind whether you are compliant or not, but so the compliance to the requirements is something essential, but it's not sufficient. Thales has several years of experience in the implementation of security monitoring on complex systems. I take an example of the Galileo monitoring, security monitoring system, which I know quite well, for which there are major challenges. The major challenges are multiple country implementation, deployment, for which the country-specific regulations bring complexity, also political aspects sometimes, and sanitary aspects sometimes. The next point is the management of different classification levels, from unclassified, restricted, classified, and secret, which have to be consolidated to bring an overview of the global cybersecurity status. Then, on such systems, we have also accreditation requirements, which imply the deployment of certified equipment. And finally, the last but not the least, the availability requirements, for which cybersecurity monitoring is quite essential and a major contributor. So it's important to be aware of the ongoing attacks on such systems, and this to be able to react quickly and efficiently. It's also important to take into account the business impact of the attacks, not only the technical impact. So real-time alerting combined with threat information sharing boost the security and the situational awareness of the system. As you will see in a few minutes with the demo that Sylvain the other one will make, we will show how to a demo of the detection and response. Remember one thing, that cyber is not only a matter of IT or network monitoring. So now, once the detection is in place, it's important and essential to keep it up to date, to keep it in secure the detection condition, and this is achieved taking into account constant evolutions of the threats, vulnerabilities that are provided by potential space attacks. They were talking about it a few minutes earlier, and certs. On the other hand, the cyber threat intelligence evaluates the relevant threats and distributed them to the security monitoring system to put them in surveillance. On the last point is the security maintenance. The security maintenance is the topic is analyzing the threat against the security assets or the assets of the system, and evaluate the impact it has on it can have if a security asset an asset is impacted. Sorry. So the first demonstration, which will be presented by Laurence, deals with the security maintenance, as I talked before, and she will show you how to assess the impact of the asset inventory against the current vulnerabilities. Sorry, and she will show you how to identify if the system is impacted, the criticality of the impact on the system. Then the second demo will be presented by Sylvain on the demonstration of detection of an attack and the impact it can have on the system, on the business system and on the business. So thank you. I give the stage to Laurence.
So let's talk about security maintenance. Security maintenance is an activity that identifies and corrects vulnerabilities on system. Its purpose is to ensure an optimal level of security throughout the lifetime of the operational systems. We define a five-step process. So the first step is to identify the vulnerabilities. The second step is to classify and score each vulnerability. Steps 3 and 4 are the correction and the qualification on a dedicated platform. So we are ready to deploy on operational sites, which is step 5. This process is periodically repeated. These slides talk about the step 1 and 2. So the step 1, by a data cross-referencing of a very detailed asset inventory, OS, RPM, firmware, and libraries, and information from vulnerability sources like CERT, NIST, exploit database, or information from suppliers. We identify vulnerabilities. So that's step 1. In the step 2, we use system criteria as confidentiality, integrity, availability to give a prioritization to each vulnerabilities. and then we can continue the workflow to the on-site correction. Cyber threat intelligence allows us to be more relevant according to the prioritization. And of course, as soon as the vulnerability is identified, the detection team can implement its solution to block any attack. And this will be the second demonstration with Sylvain. So in the first demonstration, we will go through these 5 blocks. So the demonstration is about a fictitious company, which name is Eurosat. And Eurosat operates 3 satellite systems with 3 different missions: a navigation, a telecommunication, and an Earth observation one. The satellites' name are Nav Global, Geotelco 2, OBSAT. So the use case is the publication of a critical security advisory, and the operator will identify treat the vulnerability using the Thales solution, which is based on a TIXMA framework. So this is what it looks like. So here, the portal, the operator can see. He can go to different important items in different tabs. And by going in the subsystem tab, we have all the 3 systems of satellite, Geotelco 2, OBSAT, Nav Global. And in the description part, we can see the list of all external component softwares. They came from a software bill of material or audit on operational platform. So this audit can be performed while the operation is running, and regardless if the system is classified or not. It came also from a collection of firmware like firewall, for example. A new security advisory is arriving, surprise, and we imported it in the database. Now we see all the detail about this vulnerability. This one concerns OpenSSL. It's a component widely used, and it can be found on server, this one, but also in firewalls. In the alert part, we instantly see all the vulnerable subsystems of all the 3 satellites, Geotelco, Nav Global, and OBSAT. And now we have the scoring of the environmental scoring, so, linked to the criteria. They have completed the score of the first of the OpenSSL advisory. So we can make prioritization and correct the most vulnerable first. We can also see indicators. They can be given to make a dashboard to the top management of Eurosat. So the demo is finished. Là c'est moi. Ah c'est toi?
Yep. Thank you, Laurence. We'll just skip this. Thanks. So I will speed up a little bit for the last demonstration because we do have only 9 minutes left. So the second demonstration is about detection of cyber attacks. One short overview of the system. We are about a satellite communication system where we do have the flying objects, and then we do have the satellite operation center with a segment, and also the mission operation segment, of course, and the end user service of telecommunication. So this is an example of the ESA mission operation center, where the work proposition is to add business impact visualization to this center in order to see visually the impact of cyber attacks on it. So the use case we are using is an adversary is about to successfully exploit a residual vulnerability on a ground segment, sorry, and then able to do an escalation of privilege and having the traffic drop between the satellites, all the small satellites, for example. And now I will switch to the live demonstration for you to see. So basically, we are providing within a Thales tool this kind of business impact view. So you can see the look and feel, which is a very non-cyber oriented. It's for mission operation center people. And here we can see that there is two segments with some impact. And as a mission operation center analyst, I can zoom on some specific element. And here I can see that on the mission operation segment, we do have a cybersecurity impact on the access portal and the payload configuration manager. And there is also something at the satellite side, on the satellite side. So I will update to see on the satellite what is occurring actually. And we can see that another cyber attack or impact is impacting the payload, not the platform, but the mission part of the satellite with the user plan routing. And we do provide this kind of view for non-cybersecurity experts. Then I will switch my role into a cybersecurity expert using the same interface, and I will be able to understand what occurred. So basically, I can see here that there is the exploitation of a CVE, so a known vulnerability. And I can also see some weak signals that are not alerts really, but that are weak signals that help us to understand the context. So basically here we can see that a user account has been, there is a privilege escalation on the user account, then a connection by this administrator account, and then the traffic drop coming from the NOC. So we are providing this kind of view, both the business side and the cybersecurity expert side, to security operations center on the space sector. So a few takeaways. What we wanted to share with you today is that in addition to the protection of the space systems, where it's very important to counter cyber threats to maintain the security level and vulnerabilities, but also now to detect and respond to cyber attacks that are dedicated to space systems. So we do have also some specific network probes and means in order to detect tailored made cyber attack on space system. And we provide cyber situational awareness so that both the mission operation center and cyber expert can discuss together. A small slide about our company. So Thales is providing multiple cybersecurity services. We are more than 4,000 people, and Thales Alenia Space is providing a lot of satellite systems, both on the space and on the ground system, with more than 8,000 employees.
All right. Are there any questions in the room? There's one online yet.
And if you have any question, we do have a booth, and we can give you a dedicated demonstration if needed.
All right, so there we go. So the one question we got online was specifically about adding cryptographic assets such as 509 certificates, private keys, signing keys, and self-on certs into your maintenance services. Is that something on your roadmap or even probability for you?
Ok, maintenance service. Ah oui.
So we are not considering adding this point now.
Okay. So I would imagine from what you
maybe
displayed, maybe
maybe in the future.
you know, weak keys or compromised keys showing up in the maintenance portal. I would imagine, because or expiration, for instance. Yeah. So things like that, I would imagine, could be interesting concepts to be added to like the visualization that says, oh wait, you had a cert expiring in a month, right? You need to make sure that gets updated or whatever.
I agree.
So another question online was, do you consider telemetry from the satellites in your detect capabilities? So how does that work? Is there any like TT&C monitoring that comes within your capability that then gets pushed up into the maintenance view?
Today, this is already managed at. I take the example again on the Galileo system. These information are not directly collected by the CM or the security monitoring, but they are relayed by the ground segment. Any information or any event on the telemetry can be relayed by the ground segment and interpreted by the CM if the correct if a rule is implemented on it.
Okay. Any questions in the room before I move on to some others online? Okay. So this one here, are you only detecting attacks, or do you have the capability to respond and mitigate as part of the capability?
Well, of course, we do have the capability as a system integrator, and the product we showed here is for the detection and the investigation of an alert, and then the remediation is part of the workflow. Like for the security maintenance service, there is a remediation service, a remediation workflow, sorry. For the detection part, there is also, of course, security operation procedure to answer to this.
Okay, another question. Are you doing anything on the satellite itself? I guess, do you provide any sensor or any type of capability on the vehicle that feeds into your system, or are you just kind of monitoring what comes off the bird through the telemetry or provided logs from the SOC?
We are working on some of them, on specific programs that I'm not sure we are able to answer to detail.
Okay. Any questions in the room? Okay. Let's see. Looks like a lot of these are similar questions. This one maybe is on the same vein. Are you processing in the telecommand and telemetry data yourself and characterize the attacks? Or is that a function of the SOC and that gets fed into your capabilities?
I'm not again. Well, okay. Telemetry and telecommand are not directly interpreted by the SOC. I'd say by the CM. However, if the system, the ground segment again does have a system to interpret this telemetry and this telecommand, and such if any information related to these flows are sent to the SOC. The SOC can detect any issue, or if a rule is implemented. Today, as I know, there is nothing that is done in this way. Huh?
Okay. Well, thanks. We're out of time. Catch these individuals out if you want to ask more questions, but we'll move on to the next presentation at this point. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.